Now you're on mute again. There you go. You're back. And we're back with another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze. Andrew's figuring out his audio issues. Normally that's my thing. But, I figure, I can kick it off. Let's kick it off and immediately give credit where credit is due. You were right about the Suns. I was wrong. The Suns did not win by double digits. They didn't have to. I think they were actually an underdog. It was a pick 'em. But I think by game time, Philly was favored by 1 at Philly. Great game, back and forth, a lot of battles. I think Philly was up at half. Embiid made some great plays. He owned Ayton. But the better team clearly won. That duo of Booker and Chris Paul look like a legit regular season juggernaut. I'm sure in the postseason and the finals, the Suns will, I'm not just going to give you credit without taking a shot. The Suns will meet the 1 seed in the East, the Knicks, and there'll be an awesome championship game. No?
Cam Reddish yesterday played 5 minutes and had a -20 plus or minus.
It's amazing.
-20 plus or minus.
How do you even do that? Like, he'd be better off falling on the ground and having a seizure
on his own basket.
and he'd have a better plus-minus, That's crazy.
NBA is interesting, man. Just to give you guys some stats, Booker and Chris Paul, 66% from the field for Booker in crunch time and 57% from Chris Paul. But, Cage, I texted you during that game. They opened up the half. The Sixers had, I think it was a 10-0 run to stretch it to 14, and I didn't think the Suns would have the legs.
Yeah,
to come back. 5 games in 7 nights back to back.
And they looked tired the night before. They gave up 41 points in the fourth quarter to the Bulls. It definitely looked like that was it. They were going to pack it in. They didn't. You were almost conceding the game. And I was like, oh, wow, let me go watch it. And then I watched the game. I'm like, wow, Suns are going to win. The end of the fourth quarter, they do what they have to do to win the game.
They're a good team, man. And people – I mean, the Sixers really messed up passing on Mikal Bridges. Really messed up. Like, I don't know how you could have that as a miss when the guy played college ball 10 miles down the road from you guys. And Philly native, Philly guy, he has so much potential, man. He comes in as a defensive stopper, but his offensive game is blossoming. So much better than it was just a few years ago. So, huge miss for the Sixers. What do you got top of mind? I know basketball doesn't,
I love the basketball stuff, man. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, the Nets, we talked about. I had a great call on the Nets saying, they kind of were going to suck for a while because of all this drama, all this Kyrie stuff. Then you got the now Harden drama, and then Durant got injured, and at one point in the first quarter yesterday, were the Celtics beating them like 28-2, or just some ridiculous lopsided number like that, and what do you see for the Nets, right? Because I'm focusing on the East because the East is wide open right now, right? Wide open. Some great teams in the West. But the East, you could tell me right now, 5 different teams win the East, and I wouldn't be shocked. Like, you could name 5 teams right now, legitimate. I wouldn't have an issue with them winning the East. Are the Nets in that group? And does the recent, a lot of people might not know this, but New York is talking about, repealing the governor's talking about repealing the mask and vaccine mandates and stuff, which means maybe Kyrie can actually play, in home games. Durant will come back at some point in time after the All-Star break. And now there's, trades and stuff. Do you see a trade? Do you not see a trade? And give me what your thoughts are about the Nets from a success standpoint, investment standpoint, whatever it may be, whether they make a trade or they don't.
They're not a team. They're just a collection of really good players and a few has-beens. That's the issue. And I'm curious how much respect Steve Nash gets. That game last night versus the Celtics without Harden, Kyrie, and Durant, I thought the rest of the players, the role players, would step up and defend, right? Because you can't really trust, is the ball dropping? Is it not? Am I making my shots? Not. But usually when the superstars are out, the role players step up and they at least play hard, right?
Yep.
They were down 28-2 or something like that in the first quarter. And that got...
Yep, 28-2. It's crazy.
What is more disrespectful than someone yawning with a wide open mouth literally 4 minutes into an episode? How does that make me, as your co-host, want to do more episodes?
I mean, sometimes, you have this like monotone kind of no energy, like it's the same energy the whole time, and it puts me to sleep. It's like reading a bedtime story to the kid.
I
It's like,
apologize.
hey, they're
Well,
not. I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's not you. You're actually pretty excited on it. I don't know why I yawned, dude. Maybe I didn't sleep that much last night. I did commute into the city today and came right home, and had some meetings. My my stress levels were up a little bit, and now I'm kind of
from
coming
what?
down. Well, I had to present some stuff today at a meeting to some folks that are more important than me.
The other day, I asked you, do
It
you
went
get
well.
stage fright? Do you get nervous presenting and speaking
Well, that's
in
not
public?
nervous
You
or
just said
stage
no.
fright, but you don't get. It's not nervous or stage fright, but when you're presenting something, the adrenaline flows, and then you come down. Whether you're whether you're an athlete, or I can't imagine, you're going to be at the Mint Collective, where you're presenting, you're speaking. I don't know what your topic is, but you're going to speak. I'm sure you're going to be amped up before you get on stage. You're going to give like a whole spiel. People
I'm
can't wait.
moderating. I might not even make the Mint Collective. I just checked the dates. It's the weekend where my sister graduates college, and I'm doing the trip. We're doing the Mexico trip.
Oh no.
Unless someone has a private flight out of Mexico.
I mean, what might happen is some of those panels might go right off the rails. If you're not there to moderate them, I mean, people see if I do things by myself, I'm just. You need you to moderate. Even though I'm only one person, you have to moderate me. So I can only imagine. It's not that bad. Well, so listen, we'll get this back on track. I apologize for yawning. I will try not to do it again during this episode. Hopefully, no one listening to us is yawning. You never know what we're gonna say or do.
You know what really pisses me?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
How many games into the season are we? Basketball.
Like we're halfway through, right? Like 40 games, 40-something games, right?
40 games.
42.
What's the narrative that's come out of the Lakers?
What are the Suns like 33-10, right? So 43 games. Okay.
Halfway through the season. Enough to at least form some sort of thesis. The narrative coming out of the Lakers all year has been AD's made of glass.
Yep.
Man,
Tricos.
Sucks. Should we fire Vogel? Who's going to get traded? Look, LeBron is playing like an MVP again. At what point is the best player in the world, the top 3 greatest of all time, going to take any responsibility and not let, everything you hear is Russ Westbrook is messing up. Russ is terrible. Look at the big 3. Look how terrible Russ is. Bro, you brought him in here. Stick up for your guy. Not once has he stuck up for his guy. The guy's a joke, man. I still can't believe people out there believe that LeBron is a top 3 greatest of all time player. Guy's a joke, man. He's the type of leader that when things go well, it's him. He pounds his chest. He does the step up, When things go poorly, it's always someone else's fault. It's always been someone else's fault in his whole entire career. It's always been so. People forget. Remember Blatt, the first coach, the Israeli guy? Fired him. When things weren't going well, LeBron didn't like him. He wasn't the coach for him. It's always someone else's fault when LeBron's on the team. I don't know how you guys out there who still have belief, and I wanted to buy a LeBron card today. I sent it through in the group. It might actually be my play today. But, man, so much to be desired in terms of leadership and setting a good example.
So we went there. This is what gets you upset. LeBron. It's a standard. I mean, definitely. You're on mute. They just got what?
They just blown out by a good Bucks team. At home, healthy Lakers. Stand up and take some responsibility. Like, how much are you going to let that everybody hates on Westbrook? The media hates on Westbrook. Westbrook's the problem. Dude, Westbrook's at best your 3rd best player. What about holding AD accountable? What about actually holding yourself accountable? It's terrible.
AD hardly plays. And then, trade talk. You hear who they're for nobody even. For like Boston's like Josh Richardson, right? You hear who's being thrown around, whose name's being thrown around in trade talks? The Lakers putting up THT. Wasn't
no
it LeBron?
One wants THT. He sucks. Nobody wants THT. Do people watch THT play?
For a while there, people wanted his cards. I mean, he's a preseason juggernaut. So I got to ask, you go to Culture and Collision, you're doing a basketball team. Yes. What is the team name going to be?
Dude,
And if you don't have one picked, I need to hear like the top 3 choices.
Well, first off, I asked our group, the Shill Squad, what
Shill
names I should
Squad.
come up.
Shout out to the Shill Squad. You know who you are.
18, and this is what came back. I said, what should be the name of our team, 3-on-3 team for Culture Collision? And then it was At Least We Tried, 18 Fouls to Use.
18 Fouls to Use is my favorite.
Big Ballers, Bricklayers, a favorite. The Crying Jordans. James Give Me a Harden was one of my favorites.
James Give Me a Harden. Yep.
The Philadelphia 69ers, Kobe Wan Kenobi, Bed
Kobe
Bath
Wan
and
Kenobi.
Beyond.
Bed Bath Beyond. That's me. Hornets fan.
Epic.
Bed Bath Beyond.
The Big Lebronski. We're going to need a bigger bowl.
That's good too.
Get your Zazas out. So honestly, all of these were incredible. I'm curious. Out of Bed Bath and Beyond is probably
that's good, right?
My
Bed
favorite. Yeah. I went with Kobe Wan Kenobi.
Kobe Wan Kenobi.
For you guys out there, because we'll still rename it if you want. It's only one day in. What do you guys, our audience, our biggest fans, our 1,000 true fans, as we call you guys, what should we name it? Right. So this is February 25th, Atlanta, 8 teams. Some awesome people there. Black Jaden Wolf, Siobhan's coming, Sasha Tamadan, the Old Price. Some good players and awesome people in the hobby. What should we name our team? We went with Kobe Wan Kenobi.
with Bed Bath and Beyond being coming in close second.
Yeah. James Give Me a Harden is a third.
James Gives Me a Harden.
Amazing. And guys, like if you look at this,
you're on mute.
Yeah.
There
we go.
If you look at
look at this text thread. These are all like names within like 30 seconds.
Yeah. I was just shooting them off. Shooting from the hip.
From 149 to 151. 8 different awesome names.
Yeah, those are the kind of things I can do. There are many things I can't do.
That's what you're good at.
Actually play basketball, no. Give you some funny team names, I just rapid fire that shit
Are you thinking of coming to the Culture Collision?
No, my kids are off from school and stuff like that. So, I have to be home and take care of them and use my vacation days for that. Loads of fun. It's like this president's break. Plus, I am going to Las Vegas in March. So I don't know if I could really, get away.
But you could bring Ian to this one. So it could be like a guys' night with Ian and girls' day with the.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll check it out. I will find out. I will see. Doubtful, but I'll give it a shot. We gotta start going to more card shows. We definitely do. It's definitely that's a 2022 thing. Get out there, meet more people.
I'm buying cards. I'm collecting. I'm fine. I'm gonna bring some stuff. I'm gonna trade. I'm gonna have some fun.
It'd be nice to trade stuff. Are you gonna stock up on Burrows, or are you gonna stock up on Stafford?
It's interesting, man. The market's getting smarter. Everyone this week is selling off their Burrows. Last week they were buying Burrows. This week people are trying to get out of Burrows. Is that because they think there's no chance he's getting the W?
I mean, the prices have run a bit, so people are, trying to take their profit and get rid of the risk. There are some people holding him, think he's going to win, but yeah, I can't argue with the strategy. I got out of my lonely Burrow card. One Burrow.
That card just got the day he won the AFC Championship. That card got relisted for $15,000 or best offer. The orange Prism PSA 10 color match. It just got relisted again. You sold it for $3,000, right?
About, yeah.
$5,000 or best offer. So it's crazy to think like that card hasn't even gone up that much. We probably could get 4,000, 4,500 for it at best. You sold it before the playoffs. Here he is in a Super Bowl. And
I mean, listen, we'll see what folks get for. I think I got in the high 2s for it. So I mean, even get 4, that's a good run. It's a good number. But yeah, I mean, listen, this is part of the deal. Also, that card, I mean, I think the oranges are numbered out at 275. I know there's not a ton of PSA 10s, but I think part of it is there's a lot of cards. You got the Prism orange, the Prism, all these colors. Like, look at all the parallels, and then you throw in this Prism black, which has all the same parallels. I saw somebody with a Prism Orange parallel of Burrow, and I'm like, well, that's not the same pose. What is this? A short print? No, it's Prism Black, and then there's Prism Black autos, and then there's, every different, and then you got Mosaic, and then you got there's part of the problem is there's so many different cards out there and parallels and all kinds of stuff that, it's tough for any of them to separate, because if you're sitting there saying, wow, the orange Prism color match should be 12. All right, well then why don't you buy a ton of optic hollows? Why don't you buy a ton of, Mosaic parallels? Or why don't you buy, select? There's so much stuff out there that you could get that it makes it hard for some of these things to kind of separate themselves. That's all.
Are you pumped for a Whatnot show?
I am, man. I have some awesome props. Should my play for today be my lock prop, or do we want people to tune in on Sunday? Or maybe I just
Tails?
It is not Tails. It is not Tails. I got player props, and I have a game prop that I think is like, I have two props.
Tell us.
All right, so two props, right? We'll give you the play. You guys, you're lucky on this, right? So two props. One you may have to lay money on. This one. The over-under on how many times Burrow gets sacked is only 3.5. 4 sacks for the Rams. He has been under pressure like you wouldn't believe. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Titans sacked him 9 times. 9 times. All right? Even last week's game, KC, who doesn't really have that great of it, even they got to him. I think the Rams may have 4 sacks on him by halftime.
In the first half.
Yeah, first half, exactly. So that's one. And the other one is, you might actually get money on this, depending on what book you're in. But the total 3.5 field goals in the game.
Over.
I believe over, 100% over. I believe this is one of those games that is, you're going to have a field goal in the beginning. I think the team's going to sort of slow. I think if I were betting on this one, I'd be betting it under, right? I saw in the beginning of the week, it was like 51.5. It's come down with a lot of smart money coming in to like 48. It's come all the way down to. That will go back up, because when the public bets, and a lot of people bet the Super Bowl that don't ever bet at all, they put their money on underdogs. So there's going to be more Bengals money coming in. So if you're a Rams bettor, that 4.5, 4, you can get it at 4. You'll be able to get it at 4 between now and the Super Bowl. And the under is going to go back up. The over-under is going to go back up towards 50. I don't know if it gets to 51.5 where it was to start off, but it's going to move back up because people bet they bet the over. So I think it's going to be one of those games where both of these offenses, if you notice, have actually played during the playoffs a little more conservative, right? That's why that's why you know who their kickers are. You know what I mean? That's why Kick Ferson, that's why he's, cards of his are actually selling a kicker. I think, that's a pretty straightforward one. If it's a close game, which, the odds are saying it's going to be a 4-point game, you might have field goals at the end. You might have field goals in overtime. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? I mean, to say, hey, this game might go to overtime is a crazy thing. Look at how many overtime games we've already had in the playoffs. So I think when you have a close game like this and people keep, stuff close to their vest, you're going to have some field goals kicked. And 3.5, I think, is a pretty easy number on that one. These guys, I looked at the numbers of times that these guys have done it across the season, and it's basically about 2/3 of the time they kick the field goals that they need for the game. So,
and for the rest of the props, Sunday morning, 10 a.m. on Whatnot.
I have a couple good ones. I got a couple really good ones. These two I like.
There's some opportunities in the props. If you do your research, it's what does it say? The riches are in the niches?
Yep. And snitches get stitches.
All right, I'll go through. What else is top of mind? Baseball, non-existent, boring, nothing happening right now.
I mean, baseball, they better come back. Basketball, it's trade deadline. Football, we have the Super Bowl next week. I talked about this. I mean, I want to gauge people's interest level. Topps Series 1's coming out. You got Wander Franco in there. It's his rookie card. There are going to be chases. People are going to be buying boxes of cards next week. And
buy quick sub. SGC,
yeah, where are you going to sell
it? In your hand.
That's it. Quick sub, send it to SGC, have that in your hand, be one of the first ones with it graded. Might be the way to go.
I'll tell you, man, one of the things that I learned watching Bro Namath when I first got into the hobby, April 2020, was he was making bank on these quick subs, on buying the cards that everyone else wanted, like you say, getting them back in hand before everyone else, paying a little bit of a premium. Here with SGC, you don't have to do that. And kind of creating or setting the market, right? Being the first one to go auction those off. And even before they were in hand, saying, I'm getting these cards back. If anyone wants them, throwing them up on your Instagram story. If no one bites, auctioning them off. Great way to make money, especially with a highly touted prospect like Wander.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, maybe get a parallel. Forget about it. You're one of the first ones to bring, a couple of those cards to market. I like opening. It's going to be weird opening Series 1 when there is no baseball being talked about, no hot corner, no trades, no nothing. It's going to be odd. It's definitely going to be an odd thing. But we'll see. It's Top Series 1 has that kind of spring training feel to me, And you also got to say what you want about cards, right? And I know it's just Top Series 1, but here we are. Whether the season was pushed back or not, it wouldn't have started yet. And Topps is out there with Series 1 of this year's cards. You know what I mean?
That's good.
2022 Series 1. Here are the cards. Right. So you have them for the season. You know what I mean?
When is the release, Cage, and where should people go to buy those?
I think it's the 16th. Is the release day.
Are you getting any for Julie for Valentine's Day?
No, I don't know what I'm getting for Valentine's Day. Maybe I'll get myself some Chick-fil-A. I don't know. My LCS has them. You can get them anywhere. Blowout. It's pre-order now. I mean, we're not sponsored by anybody, so you can get them wherever you like. Steel City, Blowout. I like what's it called? Cardboard Connection, I think is the name of a site. Usually a couple days before a release, they'll put up a checklist. Cardboard Connection. You ever seen this site? We put in Cardboard Connection Topps 2022's Topps Baseball Series 1. The page will come up. There'll be a link to the checklist, but better, there's also a link usually to eBay to the cheapest box price. You click on it, it'll take you to whatever the eBay listing is for the lowest sales price for that particular item. So that's a cool little resource for the folks on there. Cardboard Connection. Usually, there'll be a write-up. It'll show you pictures of the card. It's sort of like having a sell sheet, a little detail right there on the web feed. You make decisions to whether or not you want to buy the product. But that always gets me excited. It does.
Let me talk to you about a product. Tell me the history on this. So a card my play today is 2012 Prism. And tell me where these cards come from. The USA version. The players wearing the USA jerseys.
Yeah, I think they were just like subsets. They have now the highlights or the splash ones that are in Optic or whatever friggin' set they're in. Like Luck of the Lottery. It was a US subset. USA
Perfect.
Subset.
So, and they were in the 2012 set, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just take them out. If you guys look, I think Cardboard Connection is actually where you could go and see, the case hits or, the pack odds. I think a lot of people love looking at the pack odds.
Mm-hmm.
These are extremely, extremely rare. So you're not going to get a super high pop. So the card that I want to give an example of that I actually still might buy, I sent it to the group. I said, should I do it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very much off brand. No one answered. They ghosted me. So I'm still kind of up in the air. It was the LeBron. The LeBron from that year.
That's a cool one where he's dunking. He's dunking like this to get the red, white, and blue.
2012 Prism in a USA jersey. Pop 16 for PSA 10s. And it's $900. What other Pop 16 card can you get of LeBron? And then you have the 2012 iconic set, and then you have the USA jersey. But that doesn't do it for you. Tell me why. It's okay.
So I like the card. And at that price, I like the card. I'd love to know what his base PSA 10 sells for by comparison and what the pop is on that. It's a perfect example of the, supply and demand type of thing. Even though the supply is less, the demand is just not there for that card. And it's sort of like LOTL. You know what I mean?
Last off the line. I love it.
Last off the line. That's what we call it. So the luck of the lottery.
No, luck of the lottery.
Yeah, that was my joke, though. Thank you. The last off the line. Because they're like last off the line. And what was the other one? There's another insert. Zion Prism, right? There's the base card. There's the luck of the lottery with him with the hat. And there's another one where he's kind of standing to the side. What's it called? No, not the variation card. It's another insert. It's a rookie. What the hell is it called? All the top rookies have them. Barrett has one. I forget what the hell it's called. A subset. I can look it up. Well, I'll look it
I
up.
would help you if I could.
Well, do me a favor. Are you on
I'm looking
eBay?
it up. Yeah.
Oh, you're the best. So just type 2020 Prism Zion, and it's got a name to it. We're like, oh, it's the Zion this. It's like a subset, right? Barrett has one. Ja has one.
It's not like instant impact or emergent.
Yeah,
right?
instant impact and emergent.
Okay.
Those are exactly what I'm talking
But those are different. Those are
Why?
inserts. Those are inserts. Those are completely different.
Because it's not a numbered part of the set, right?
No, because it's like a knockoff to the main card, where this is the USA jersey. It's not a knockoff.
Do you have the LeBron number? Like, is it a numbered part of the base set? Is it an insert? What's that USA? Because in my brain, the way I look at it and why I'm not, like running out to buy the LeBron is I view that LeBron, America team, the USA team, the same way I would view one of those lesser cards, the luck of the lottery, the instant impact. It's exactly the same type of thing to me. Card. It's a subset, So
I don't know, man. This is to me so iconic. You have USA basketball, gorgeous right there.
Nothing to say about that. 100%. I like the USA stuff, and there are people who just collect the USA stuff. But I'm saying, what's the actual number? Is it like US 3 or is it just card 3 or
card 3?
Flip it over.
Your wish is card number
3.
Says,
so I mean, I wonder if it's 3 in the actual set or if it's 3 as like a subset. That doesn't really make a difference. The point is, you see it in the pricing of this. Right? People are not chasing this card because people view it as the lesser 2012 LeBron. They just do. Meanwhile, I think it's pretty cool because when LeBron plays for the Knicks, when they draft Bronny, right? And you have your choice of jerseys for LeBron. You got Cavs 1, Miami, Cavs 2, Lakers, Knicks, Oklahoma City Thunder when he wants to play with his grandson, Dronny. So, I mean, there's going to be so many of them. But the USA, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a Lakers Bron, if you're a Cleveland Bron, if you're, what kind of bronze testicle you are. The USA jersey one is iconic, and it's LeBron no matter what stage of his career. You know what I mean? So it does have that cool factor going for it. And I love USA cards. I stopped building it. I have to get back to it. But that 92 Skybox Upper Deck Olympic set, there's a Jordan, one with the gray and blue. I have like Christian Laettner, and I got a couple of the other ones in the set. I like the Olympic stuff. Not Winter Olympics, though. That's boring. But anyway, it is what it is.
And dude, what could move this is there's eventually going to be LeBron's last Olympics, right?
You think he plays in the Olympics again?
You think he doesn't? Not enough players to blame there. You're right.
I don't know. Sometimes the best players only didn't play. Jordan wasn't on the 96 team, even though he was the best player in the world in 96. Jordan's number was worn by Mitch Richmond that year. His Olympic number.
Did they get the gold? He didn't go?
No,
Why didn't they go in 96 after proving a point in 92?
So, I don't know. They might have won in 96. 96, they let other people go. I mean, they still had some carryovers. I don't remember if David Robinson was still on the team, but like they definitely fixed one glaring problem. They put Laettner in as the college representative for the Dream Team in 92, and Shaq went in 96. Could you imagine a Dream Team if Shaq was on the team?
Insane.
Oh my God. We didn't really need him because they had enough centers. But yeah, just crazy stuff. But
I don't know. I don't like that. I think send your best talent, man. It's one every 4 years. It's your country. I miss the pride of America. I do miss that, man. We're the greatest country in the world. We've got the greatest athletes in the world. We have freedom. Whatever you say about this country, there is something to be said about like American pride. And I want to see that our best athletes do end up going. Now, I think you have a great point. Is LeBron even a top 12 player to go? There's probably 12 better players to choose from. So I agree.
Wow. The LeBron hatred comes out beginning, middle, and end from this guy. Let's take that. Let's take it going a little bit further. Trade, no trade. Let's say Davis comes back and is healthy. Westbrook figures his shit out. Carmelo comes off the bench and provides some offense. don't they have the horses to make a run in the West?
On paper, of course. On paper, I'd say they were one of the most talented teams in the league. Before the season started, they were favorites, them and the Nets, plus 250, if you guys remember.
But they don't play on paper, huh? Is that what you're telling me?
No, you don't play on paper. Teamwork matters. Chemistry matters. Leadership matters.
So can he turn it around? Can LeBron do something? Can he show up and actually be a leader in the second half? Put his team together and forge forward, or just right off the Lakers?
I don't think he cares. I've said that a few times. Like I know you guys might hate me for saying that. Like if you watch the games, there's not much energy or passion. If that makes sense, there's not enough. Like that is not as much like.
Do they need it? Like they're on the outside of the playoffs looking in right now. What are they? The 9 seed, 10 seed? Like if they come back after the All-Star break, have a little bit of a run, get a little healthy, the drama of the trade bullshit is beyond them, and Russell Westbrook, whatever it is, and they move themselves up. Is it gonna be that difficult for them to get like a 6 seed? I mean, it's difficult to win from there, but is it gonna be that difficult for them to turn around a little bit?
Right now, the best 3 teams in the West are the Suns, the Warriors, and the Grizz.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Lakers healthy beat either of those 3 teams in a 7-game series?
Sure.
Who?
I think they can beat them all. They have the best player in the world.
They have
LeBron James.
This is my issue with NBA, and I understand. Manny says this too. He's like, man, NBA is so boring. I don't know how you guys watch the regular season. It's not just the names. Like if you guys watch, there's a different level of intensity that the top 3 teams play with. If you just watch it, you'll see that they defend with intensity and they attack with purpose.
So wait, what you're saying is watch the games. That's the secret. You got to watch
because
okay.
Be
I'm
like,
getting it. I'm getting what you're throwing down.
Well, you'd be like, oh, Jaren Jackson Jr., of course Anthony Davis is better. And yeah, on paper, he is. But then if you watch the game, you'll see that the Grizz play 48 minutes of nonstop hard basketball. They defend really hard. They jump the passing lanes. They do all of these little things that they might not seem like they make a difference, but they make a huge difference. They play with energy, and they defend with energy, attack with purpose. The Lakers don't do that. So I don't know how you just click that on as playoffs come, because how are you just going to magically defend with a tremendous amount of intensity?
I remember talking to you about it because we've been doing this for a while now. And I mean, the bubble was different, and obviously that's the scenario. But even that year, bubble Bron and bubble Lakers championship, you said it a bunch of times. The Lakers seem to be in cruise control. They seem to be going at 60, 70%. They're not putting in full. They're not, they're conserving energy. They're, they know that when they need to, they'll be there in the end. And then they were. Obviously, that Laker team was not in a 10 seed. You know what I mean? That was a different run. But are they doing the same thing? Is it a little bit of like they don't think they need to have the intensity until they need it? And if that's the case, if that's what they're doing, are they digging themselves too much of a hole, potentially?
So here's the difference, in my opinion. The teams that they played were not as good. So they didn't have the same difficult matchups then that they do now. Let me go back and see. They played the Nuggets, right? Not nearly as good as the Suns this year, or the Warriors this year, or the Grizz this year. They played the Heat in the finals, which is by no means the Heat. That Heat finals team is like a 4th or 5th seed in the East right now.
But even last year's Lakers team sucked. I mean, you didn't like them. You didn't think they were a good team. They were cruise control. The Suns, your team, which made it to the finals last year and came close, right? That was the team that knocked them out. They took the Suns 6 games. It was 4-2. The Lakers made the mistake of not letting Andre Drummond play at all. In that 2021 season. Not the bubble, the 2021, right? During that game 6. Even though he had a decent run with the Lakers. Even when they were bad, it took the best team in the West 6 games to knock them out. You know what I mean? So
for sure,
I guess maybe
this Lakers team is worse. This
significantly worse.
Significantly
okay.
better.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'll grant that. Listen, I've watched a lot of Suns games this year. and they are very good. Even when there are days where Booker is not on and Chris Paul is not hitting that, he gets to the free throw line, he gets to the elbow, and he pops that mid-range jumper, which obviously he's probably taken a billion times. It's going to, even when that's not falling, those are the nights that Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson step up. Or Ayton plays a stronger role inside. Like they know when one is off and the other one steps up. It's pretty cool to see. I know that's what you talk about as far as the team playing as a team.
Well, the young guys really stepped up. I mean, you even look like Cam Johnson. The guy's a typical 3-point shooter.
Yep.
The other day he had this awesome block from behind on someone. I can't remember who it was. But usually you don't see kind of like spot up 3-point shooters come and run back and play D like that. But top to bottom, their young guys have all improved and they all play hard on both sides of the ball. Let me just tell you guys, this is who the Lakers played in the bubble. So it's not me just picking on the Lakers. They had a very favorable draw and it was a very much a down year in terms of talent. So they played the 8th seed Portland. Remember Dame and CJ? Portland won game 1. And we had that whole overreact thing. And we even said it. Portland's not a good matchup for the Lakers. They don't have the guns or the firepower. So that was the first round. The second round, do you know who they played?
No.
Houston. James Harden. How non-threatening of a series that is. 4-1, they crushed them. And then in the conference finals, they played the Nuggets, which was probably their best matchup. But that you don't forget, this is before Jokic was an MVP. So this was a team that wasn't as good as they are now. Jokic wasn't playing at that high level. And just to give you guys context, Oklahoma City,
they had Michael Porter Jesus,
and the Clippers, it makes them worse, were the other teams. So there wasn't a ton of talent then. And then the Bucks, which was probably the best team in the league that season, lost to Miami in the first round. So the team that they met with was Miami, and that Miami team is a shell of who they are now. Miami now is better. They have Kyle Lowry and they have PJ Tucker with the same weapons around.
Mike Lowry.
So, yeah.
I like it. All right. Well, I guess we'll see. Listen, I love getting your opinion on this stuff because there's LeBron hatred, but then you don't just say the Lakers suck, LeBron sucks, they're not going to win, right? Or explaining it. And I'm trying to give my thought, right? Which is, maybe LeBron's just taking it easy. Maybe he's got his foot off the gas because he knows they'll kick it in. But it's harder to do that than just, let's just, flip the switch. We're going to have great teamwork. Everybody's going to know their role. Everyone knows where to be on the court, even though they didn't know where to be on the court the whole time.
I try to tamper my opinionated nature with cross-referencing like what actually people who've been successful in sports say. I've never played at that level, so I'm conscious that if I say something, I most likely don't have the first-hand knowledge to know if what I'm saying is true.
You know what the Lakers need?
Real quick, say you can't just switch things on. You can't just. And my question is, from watching this team, they don't seem like they're proud, right? They don't seem like they have a level of, dude, we're not going to get blown out at home when we're healthy. Like, we might lose, but we're going to go out swinging. They don't have that, and I don't know how you teach that, Cage.
Nobody comes into our house and pushes us around. Nobody. That's
right.
That's Rudy Rudiger right there. That's Coach Devine giving a little speech before the Georgia Tech game.
Man, I'm worried about the future of like inspirational kids movies. They're all going to be based on LeBron and stuff. Well,
listen, I know what the Lakers need. They need one thing, and maybe they should get it before the trade deadline. Although they can actually pick this up after the trade deadline. You know what they need? Tim Grover. They need Tim Grover. I don't know who this guy is, but you love him. So I want to say Tim Grover because I never get to say Tim Grover. I just say Super Grover. And he crashes into the wall. Brick wall right here behind me. So here's my question for you. This was going to be my play, but he just came up. He literally just got brought up. And not a play you have to buy now, although it might be a little sneaky thing to buy, right? We just talked about him. And what's funny is you said that makes him worse, right? 6 months ago, a year ago, your opinion, everybody's opinion, very different. And I'm wondering whether or not the opinion may swing back in the other direction, and we're having a chance to kind of buy the dip. And I'm talking about Michael Porter Jesus, who I have consistently said was trash. Right? I've consistently said, taking some heat on it, that he was not somebody to invest in. He was not somebody to buy. That his prices were, too much. People were already breeding in. That's where coined the phrase Michael Porter Jesus. People were treating him like Jesus. You actually compared him to Kevin Durant at one point in time. You did, which I get. Tall, can score from different parts of the court. You never said he was going to be Kevin Durant. You never said he was going to put up numbers like Kevin Durant. But there was a Kevin Durant style of play comparison. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Right?
I said that exact thing. I said he's going to be an MVP by 27.
And people, you weren't the only one. People love this guy, right? Now, his injuries are bad, and we've talked about the injuries. His cards have been beaten to shit. I wonder, one, is there a chance he comes back this year and is available for the playoffs for them? Okay, because I have watched some Nuggets games too, and the local guys, you watch the NBA League Pass, the local Denver guys seem to think that there's a chance that team gets back their stars, including Michael Porter Jr. for a playoff run.
Dude, League Pass is the greatest thing ever because
it's awesome,
you get
right? The local
I love the local commentators.
You know what's better than the local commentators is if the game comes back on before they're playing, you get to see what they're doing in the local stadium. Like the shirt cannons being blasted, the weird fights between the mascots, the people dunking the ball, the proposal cam. It's like you're there, in the hive, watching the Hornets play, watching, LaMelo, dribble the ball, throw the ball to the other end of the. I mean, it's just funny. You have a more like you're there type of feel when you have that league pass. But the point is, during the Denver games, they've started to talk about Michael Porter Jr. potentially coming back. And it made me think, is that a play? Because we talk about those different entry and exit strategies on players as an investment, right? I don't think he's going to have a 30-year career. I don't think he plays until he's 112 years old. And I also don't know that he's going to come back and be the 30-point scorer that everybody thought he was going to be. Keep in mind, when he was knocking out of the park and all of his cards were going up, I reminded everyone he's never even scored 40 in a game because he's missed a lot of games. But if he comes back this year, or there's talk of him coming back this year, and that's a playoff team, and he's going to come in and maybe light it up in the playoffs, maybe play in the playoffs, that talk will probably impact the pricing on his cards. And even if he doesn't come back, right, this year, he likely will come back next year. He's going to come back and play at some point in time, I believe. We'll see at what level he plays. But the initial reports, at least from the local guys, are saying his condition's not as bad as what they originally thought, and he's rehabbing, he's getting better, and you see him there. He's on the sidelines sometimes. So I'm wondering whether or not at the level that his cards are at now, you could even get like decent stuff of his. And people have kind of bailed on. I'm not talking about just base and silver. I'm talking about buying like, RPAs of him. I'm talking about buying, numbered low pop stuff as I would consider it a high risk play because who knows what he's going to be. But it's now the pricing on it has come down so much from where we have been that it's a high reward play with, what's the risk and a potential for a couple of, avenues to sell even before he even gets on the court. So it's somebody I was looking at. It's funny because, I bring up Michael Porter Jesus because, he's on Denver and you're like, he makes him worse. I wonder if we did a 180 on him, if there's the potential for us to do another 180 on him. When he comes back, he's healthy. He doesn't have to be healthy and play for 10 years. He goes out there and, has a couple good games and people see, wow, okay, he's back. He's playing. Is that enough to take his cards that are really close to the floor right now and move him up a little bit? To me, it's kind of one of those risk-reward plays. Go for it, man.
So yesterday we talked about the Zion record sale in a BGS lab, and we asked our audience, what do you guys think? Is SGC catching up to BGS? Is BGS overpriced? Is it a combination of the two? And down the board, most people said SGC is catching up. And we want to support a company that gets our cards back in a timely manner. What's interested is I started digging. I started looking like, okay, you got the cards back.
These are ones I did the reveal on whatnot. Remember, same ones. But I just like that tuxedo.
The purple origin Steph Curry, man. I'm jealous whoever has that. I started digging. I was like, Zion's injured and his cards have hit record prices. What are Michael Porter Jr.'s cards, right? So I looked at the silver, and I'll give you some numbers. So the Zion silver pop of 1400, a little bit less than the other two than the year before with Michael Porter Jr. is $1,500 for a silver. It's at all-time lows, but still $1,500 for a guy that's injured, might not return. Michael Porter Jr., 2000 graded, his silver actually perking back up somehow, some way. Card ladder, I have no idea how.
Mhm.
Last week in January, they were 180. Now they're 260. Okay. Here's the interesting one.
I think you still get them to 180.
I think so too.
Maybe less.
And I don't even know if the silver is the one you get.
Yeah.
Maybe you go gold, maybe because if you hit, you want to hit right. Like you don't want to take a gamble on Michael Porter Jr. with the silver, and then a year from now, that $200 card is a $600 card. You're like, that was a big risk.
I was right. Yeah.
But
Yep.
Here's the really interesting report. So remember those prices?
Mm-hmm.
Zion with 1,500, MPJ 260. Let's call it 200. Trey, who's just putting up monster numbers, never been injured really. His cards are 800 for the silver Prism PSA 10. Same exact pop as the other two guys.
Yeah, people have gone away from the silver Prism. I really do believe we're going to see a time where there are just none of those left to grade. It's an uncertainty thing, right? Let's say you were in a coin called Looks. And the first 30 days it did something, and then the next 90 days did something else. People didn't know how it was going to react on day 28, 29, 30. So the price goes down because
patting yourself on the back.
So, but in any event, maybe. But in any event, not really. We're still losing, but not as bad as we were. But so the point is, it's the same thing with these silvers. People, they're beaten down because it's impossible for the card to keep up with the amount of them that are coming back. But I think we're about to hit that. If you had a Trey Silver, it's graded. You know what I mean? Like it's not the ones that you waited for this most recent PSA backlog. There probably are some, but we're going to get to a point very soon where Luka Silver, Trey Silver, they're kind of done. Like we're going to know what the number are. Once we know what the finite population is, I think you might be able to see it move up a little bit. But right now, yeah, the Silver's been beaten up.
Holding. It also tells me who's holding. Like big money's in Zion. Big money loses. Guys, don't think because someone has big pockets doesn't mean they're not idiots or they don't lose money. They lose. I was just fascinated to see. I was thinking, okay, Trey would be, double Zion. Zion would be 3x Michael Porter Jr. Zion's still the most expensive.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Zion's, but I mean, what's Luka? Luka and Trey have always kind of moved in that. Remember, they've gone in like a 2 to 4 stretch. You know what I mean? Like sometimes Luka and Trey have like a 2-to-1 multiple. A lot of times they're mostly 3. Then they've had 4
right now. Luka's 3,200, 3,100.
So that, to me, if you've watched those two guys and their cards over time, 2.5 was like when Trey was killing it and Luka wasn't. 4 was when Luka was killing it and Trey wasn't. So once it got to 4, that was usually a buy signal on Trey for me, because you knew that was gonna, those numbers were gonna come back towards 2.5, 3 to 1. Anyway, Michael Porter Jr., guys, you can put whatever card you like of him. Find an RPA, get a flawless, get something cool, because you're not going to have a lot of competition for him now, especially with all the other stuff that's coming out now and all the other rookies and all the people are chasing after all the other stuff. People aren't looking for Michael Porter Jr. But if he comes back this year, that window might not be as large as people think. And it seems like if card ladder just on the silver, I mean, I'd look at his other cards and maybe his index. Right. But if card ladder is correct, you don't have to. But if card ladder is correct, people are on this already. People are already starting to buy his stuff, and the silver PSA 10 is already starting to see a little bit of a little move up. Which
so the index is down. It might be, like you said, like outlier sales. So there's definitely the potential of that. And I think he's going to come back, and I think he'll have a point to prove, at least for short term. I'd also say, Cage, remember the uncollectible? They have the 1/1 contenders.
Yeah, I was thinking about that card when I
instead of buying a silver, I would consider maybe my $200 are better spent at owning shares of the 1/1, because let's say all goes well, that 1/1 IPO'd I think of around $20,000. I think it's $5,000 now.
Yep.
So all goes well. There's a buyout offer. Maybe you get $30K for that card if he does well, which isn't crazy for a 1-of-1 auto contenders. That's where I want to be versus a silver, because I want to capitalize on the reward if it does. So
there you go. Gotta love it.
I know you got to bounce, Getty. And any final topics, anything top of mind, anything you want to say?
No, we're all good. I am excited for the trade deadline. I believe that there's still another move or two that are going to be made. So we'll be back tomorrow.
I don't want Harden. And dude,
being Philly, Philly is now you're owning Philly. Okay.
I'm not owning Philly. I just said you're an asshole. I don't want. Did you see they asked for Matisse Thybulle, Maxey?
The most recent one doesn't have Maxey. It has Thybulle, Curry, and Ben Simmons and Drummond, which is smart for them to ask for Drummond back.
You must be high. If someone called me with that offer, I would freak out. I would say, never call me again until you have a reasonable offer. Your guy's fat and out of shape, and he scored 4 points last game. Make me a serious offer or lose my number. Bye.
I mean, listen, it's a lot. It's a lot of players. But
dude, Harden's not even good anymore. I don't understand what this conversation is. Do people watch?
Oh, we'll see.
Ever since they changed the rules and he can't take 16 foul shots a game to get to his 30 points, all of a sudden he's not as threatening. Oh,
meanwhile,
gaining weight.
And they're asking for Drummond back, who set a record once, who missed free throws in a single game. He missed 23 free throws in one game once. He broke Will Chamberlain's record. Missed 23 free throws.
I would think Shaq would own that record pretty easily.
No, missed 23. That's a lot.
How many did he get? 30? Like 30 foul shots?
I don't know. Probably 24. I'll have to look it up. But I remember when that happened.
That's your guy.
Yeah, I'm a Drummond guy, man. I like those guys. They pack their lunch. They go to work. They do what they clean up on the boards. They do the dirty work. You can pencil them in for a double-double every game, which I know nobody cares about because it's a stat. But, whatever. I like those guys. They contribute. Kevin Love's another one of those guys, doesn't get enough love. But, the numbers there.
Didn't the Lakers have Drummond for a second?
Yes. He was on that team that we were just talking about after the bubble where he was good. I mean, he averaged a double-double for them. I think it was like 13 and 10 or something like that. They didn't really give him that much run. And he had a good season. And that Game 6, the deciding game, where they could have used an inside presence like him, they didn't even play him. He was healthy, and they didn't even play him that Game 6 where they lost 4-2 to the Suns. So I don't know what was behind that. I don't know if they were just done with him. I have no idea. But there you go. Lots of fun.
Luca Nation. Tomorrow, Jeff Wilson, sports card investor.
Oh, yeah. Jeff Wilson. That's going to be fun. I'm going to go work on my questions. See if I can plan a rant for Jeff because he wants me to rant. I don't rant that often. Come on now. I don't be known as the rant dude. That's no good.
You only rant when people piss in your cereal.
Pretty much.
Who pissed in your Cheerios is how I can see.
Say. Yeah, that's it. I said, who peed in your Cheerios? Or who pissed in your Cheerios this morning when you're not happy? I can see the Rip Pack Slams guy now giving me another nickname. Kevin Durant. Cage Durant. I'm the rant guy. Fun stuff. My rapper name.
Durant?
No, the rant instead of Durant. Because I rant. I'm known for my ranting. All right, this one went off the rails. Luca Nation, we love you.
Peace.